Hi, welcome back. We're now on part four. We've identified we need to really think about humans, how they function as a whole, and that modern Western medicine really doesn't, nor do education systems. Let's move on. So, there is a stage of development in humans called motor sensory integration. It's when our senses and our motor skills come together and work as one. So that if we're reading a book, we are visualizing what we're reading. We can taste the food. We can imagine everything in that book. And it's really a sense of immediacy and it's very, very sharp in our minds. That stage should come in at 7 or 8, not 4. 7, 8 is when motor sensory integration comes in. And if we push people to formal education before then, we're often pushing them to work with one eye, or we're pushing them to use coping strategies and they bypass good learning skills. We need to develop good skills. So humans are neuroplastic. We want to do everything we can in those first 7, 8 years of life to support good development, and it's going to be in layers. And as you go from helpless to crawling to toddling to walking to running, each stage has a layer developing in the brain. All across each level is networked, ideally, and each level of development is networked to the next level. So if you miss a bit down at the beginning, we need to go back and get everything into place. So it's quite important to realise that everybody can go back, can sort out gaps, and get to the point where everybody has motor sensory integration. There will be very few people who can't get there, and they'll be profoundly disabled, but everybody can be on the journey throughout their lives to getting to motor sensory integration or to maintaining and mastering it, because it does need to be maintained once you've got there. It's not something that's going to magically stay if you don't use it. So throughout our lives, we need to be doing lots of physical activity, lots of puzzles, lots of engagement with thinking and with the world. There are many factors in good development, as I've already mentioned, and we have to understand how the human works as a whole. But teachers, parents, doctors, they struggle with many factors. They're looking for a quick tick box. And a lot of our systems are designed to tick a box. We've got to stop, we've got to slow down, we've got to be thorough. Do that, we will have a very skilled nation. Keep rushing, keep relying on coping strategies, keep blaming people, and things going to get better. Governments want to measure impact and monitor change. It needs to be monitored across many fields and understood over the long term. And an awful lot of work is not monitored over a long term to look at long term impact. We've got a crisis, as I've said, in many areas of health and education, and especially for poor and disadvantaged communities who are likely to have considerably less good health and access to less good environments and poorer food quality. So it's really important we get the whole human developing and think about we're so much richer than we were in 1940s. We knew how to get people to a good state then, by and large. We need to go back to some very basic things, basic motor skills, good diet, and then using some modern technology, and we can all be really well developed. The vital components for me of motor sensory integration is the person's got to be self-regulated. They don't have to self-regulate instantly. Over those first years, and we're talking probably maybe 10 or 12 years, the person learns to control their breathing, make sure they always breathe through their nose, and if they're not breathing through their nose, they know how to, and they can keep a calm, coherent heart rate, whatever else is going on. Because if you can't self-regulate and you get absolutely anxious, you can't think, and nothing else works. Sound processing needs to be checked. We need to check that people can work properly with their sound, they can make sense of sound, sense of speech, that they understand whether speech is nice or nasty, that they themselves can process sound quickly and respond quickly through speech. They're not frozen. We need motor skills, left and right talking to each other, and good postural control. We need both eyes working together and the central 5% of each eye holding a sharp focus that overlaps and sends equal messages to the brain so the brain can do the seeing. And then we need to integrate skills and senses and develop mastery. It is the brain that's doing the development. It's not good enough just to be fit. It's not good enough just to have good vision. It's not good enough just to have good hearing. The brain has to be using the inputs and integrating them and making good sense of them. When the brain can do that, the person can think flexibly and have high levels of intelligence. And we can achieve that for the many, not just the few. And at the moment, what we're doing is we are assuming that somebody might be good at maths or might be good at languages. And what we've got to think is that everybody should be able to access all areas of the curriculum at a high level, and they ought to be able to come in and out for life. So let's be ambitious for our nation. Think about it. Think about how we can skill up and make our nation and the world's population, to be honest, fit for an AI world. Thank you for listening.